A Dragon's Ambitions, China's historical pursuit of regional dominance. China's history is a tapestry woven with threads of ambition, expansion, and a quest for regional dominance. This pursuit has been a defining characteristic of the nation, shaping its interactions and relationships with neighboring regions over millennia. From the early dynasties to the modern era, the Middle Kingdom has exerted its influence over its neighbors. The Great Wall stands as a testament to the lengths China has gone to protect and assert its sovereignty. The concept of Tianxia, translating to all under heaven, highlights the historical worldview where China saw itself as the center of the known world. This ideology was not just a cultural belief, but a guiding principle in its foreign policy and diplomatic endeavors. This notion was intrinsically linked with the tributary system, a complex network of political and economic relationships where neighboring states paid tribute to the Chinese emperor in exchange for recognition and protection. This system reinforced China's centrality and its role as a regional hegemon. The Ming dynasty's maritime expeditions under Admiral Zheng He in the 15th century demonstrated the reach of Chinese power. These voyages, which extended as far as the coast of Africa, were a clear indication of China's naval capabilities and its interest in establishing a presence far beyond its immediate borders. While not solely focused on conquest, these voyages showcased China's ability to project power far beyond its borders. They were diplomatic missions, trade expeditions, and displays of might all rolled into one, leaving a lasting impression on the regions they touched. However, internal pressures and a shift in priorities led to a period of relative isolation, paving the way for European powers to ascend on the global stage. The Qing dynasty's inward focus left China vulnerable to external threats and colonial ambitions. The century of humiliation at the hands of Western powers and Japan left deep scars on the Chinese psyche. The Opium Wars, the loss of Hong Kong, and the brutal Japanese occupation during World War II are stark reminders of this painful era. This period, marked by forced concessions and loss of territory, fueled a deep desire for national rejuvenation. The treaties signed under duress and the ceding of territories were not just political losses, but blows to the national pride and identity. The Communist Party, seizing power in 1949, inherited this historical baggage and the ambition to restore China to its former glory. Mao Zedong's proclamation of the People's Republic of China was a turning point, marking the beginning of a new era of assertiveness and reconstruction. Today, as China experiences an unprecedented economic and military rise, the ghosts of history whisper in the ears of its leaders. The rapid modernization of its military and the transformation of cities like Shanghai into global financial hubs are testaments to this resurgence. The question is no longer if China will seek to reclaim its position of regional dominance, but how. The strategies and policies adopted by its leaders will shape the future of not just China, but the entire region as the dragon continues its quest for supremacy. The drive westward and eastward, analyzing China's motives in a modern context. Understanding China's contemporary ambitions requires examining the complex interplay of historical grievances, strategic considerations, and economic imperatives. To truly grasp the depth of China's motives, one must delve into its rich history, its evolving geopolitical strategies, and its relentless pursuit of economic growth. The desire to reclaim territories lost during the century of humiliation remains a potent force. This period, marked by foreign invasions and unequal treaties, left deep scars on the national psyche, driving a fervent desire to restore China's former glory. Taiwan, viewed as a breakaway province, represents a potent symbol of past humiliations and a key stepping stone to achieving regional hegemony. The island's strategic location and its political status are central to China's vision of reunification and regional dominance. Beyond historical grievances, China's actions are also driven by pragmatic security concerns. The need to protect its borders and maintain internal stability is paramount, especially in a region fraught with potential conflicts and rivalries. Securing vital resources and ensuring the unimpeded flow of trade through strategic waterways like the South China Sea are paramount to fueling its continued economic growth. The South China Sea, rich in resources and a critical maritime route, is a focal point of China's strategic interests. This necessitates the establishment of a strong maritime presence and the ability to project power far from its shores. China's growing naval capabilities are a testament to its ambitions to safeguard its interests and assert its influence on the global stage. Furthermore, China's westward gaze towards Central Asia is driven by a desire to secure its vast western borders, tap into energy resources, and establish alternative trade routes that bypass potential choke points in the South China Sea. Central Asia, with its rich energy reserves and strategic location, offers China a valuable opportunity to diversify its energy sources and trade routes. The Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project spanning continents, exemplifies this ambition, aiming to connect China to Europe and beyond. This ambitious project seeks to create a vast network of trade routes, enhancing China's economic ties and influence across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Finally, one cannot discount the role of nationalism in fueling China's assertiveness. The sense of national pride and the desire to see China reclaim its rightful place as a global power are powerful motivators for both the government and the populace. The Communist Party has skillfully harnessed nationalist sentiment, presenting itself as the guarantor of national rejuvenation and reclaiming China's rightful place on the world stage. Through a combination of propaganda, education, and policy, the party has cultivated a strong sense of national identity and purpose. This potent mix of historical grievance, strategic considerations, and nationalist fervor creates a potent cocktail driving China's pursuit of regional dominance. As China continues to rise, understanding these underlying motives is crucial for anticipating its future actions and navigating the complexities of global geopolitics. Shifting sands. The geopolitical earthquake of a greater Chinese sphere. The hypothetical scenario of China conquering Mongolia, the Koreas, Taiwan, and Japan would send shockwaves through the existing global order, fundamentally altering the geopolitical landscape. This expansion would not only be a territorial gain, but also a strategic maneuver to control key economic and military zones in East Asia. The United States, for decades the guarantor of security in the region, would face a direct challenge to its hegemony. American military bases scattered across Asia would suddenly find themselves in a precarious position, surrounded by a vastly expanded Chinese sphere of influence. Alliances with Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines forged during the Cold War would be thrown into disarray. These nations, longtime allies of the United States, would have to reconsider their security and diplomatic strategies in light of a dominant China. The balance of power in Asia would shift dramatically. The economic and military clout of a China-dominated region would overshadow the influence of other regional players, leading to a new era of geopolitical dynamics. A China-dominated East Asia would command unparalleled economic and military might, potentially eclipsing the United States as the dominant power in the region. China's industrial and technological advancements would further solidify its position as a global superpower. This power shift would have profound implications for global governance, trade, and security arrangements. International bodies like the United Nations would have to navigate the complexities of a new power structure, where China's influence would be significantly more pronounced. Countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, and Australia, currently wary of China's growing assertiveness, would face immense pressure to accommodate themselves to the new reality. These nations would have to balance their economic interests with their security concerns, leading to a delicate diplomatic tightrope walk. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, already struggling to present a united front on the South China Sea disputes, would likely become increasingly fractured. The internal divisions within ASEAN would be exacerbated by the need to respond to a more assertive China. The ripple effects of this seismic geopolitical shift would extend far beyond Asia. Global trade routes, economic partnerships, and security alliances would all be impacted by the emergence of a greater Chinese sphere of influence. Europe, heavily reliant on trade with both China and the United States, would face difficult choices in navigating the new world order. European nations would have to carefully consider their economic dependencies and political alliances in this new geopolitical landscape. Russia, while currently enjoying a strategic partnership with China, might find itself increasingly relegated to a junior partner. The dynamics of the Sino-Russian relationship would shift, with China taking a more dominant role in their bilateral engagements. The world would witness the emergence of a new Cold War, this time between a US-led bloc and a China-dominated sphere of influence. The ideological and strategic competition between these two superpowers would define global politics for decades to come. The potential for miscalculation and conflict would be high, casting a long shadow over global stability. The stakes of this new geopolitical reality would be immense, with the future of international peace and security hanging in the balance. An economic colossus, the transformation of global markets under Chinese hegemony. The economic implications of a China-dominated Asia would be equally profound. With control over vast natural resources, a highly skilled workforce, and a massive consumer market, China would become an economic behemoth, dwarfing even its current stature. The combined economies of Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, integrated into a Chinese-led system, would create a formidable economic bloc. The renminbi, already gaining traction as a global reserve currency, would likely supersede the US dollar in regional transactions, potentially challenging the dollar's global dominance. Control over vital supply chains, particularly in sectors like technology and manufacturing, would give China unprecedented leverage over global trade. However, this economic dominance would not come without its challenges. Integrating such diverse economies, each with its own strengths and weaknesses, would be a complex undertaking. The potential for economic disruption during the transition period could be significant. Moreover, China's economic model, characterized by state capitalism and a lack of transparency, could create friction with other economies. The potential for economic coercion, using trade as a weapon to achieve political objectives, would be a constant concern for other nations. The world would witness the emergence of a new economic order, one where the center of gravity shifts decisively towards Asia. While this presents opportunities for growth and development, it also raises concerns about fairness, transparency, and the potential for economic dominance to translate into political leverage.